Thank you for staying with us. This is Good Morning Kenya's Entertainment Thursday. My name is Mike Migwen. Now we get the show on the road. We start with what is making headlines in our local dailies. And I will start with the Standard. Ruto's blue-eyed boy. This is what is captured on the front page of the Standard. President William Ruto, for the umpteenth time, shuffled his cabinet yesterday, whereas Justin Muturi was the biggest casualty. The president tapped Aden Duale, a man not known for exemplary delivery in the dockets he has previously held, for the cartel-ridden held docket, an appointment that raises more questions than answers. That is a story that is told on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. Another story captured on the front page is a bang or a whimper. Muturi exits cabinet. Public Service CS called for his removal over disagreement with the president. Was it a wise move or a miscalculation? That is a story you will read on page 6 of the Standard newspaper. We shift to the Daily Nation. Showdown. This is what is captured on the front page of the Daily Nation. President William Ruto finally fired a Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi after months of defiance and direct confrontation, in a move that now puts him in a fresh political dilemma with the hostile Mount Kenya region. Picking a sitting MP as his replacement also gives his former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua an opportunity for a massive flexing face-off in a by-election. Read that story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Students paying as court reinstates contentious varsity funding model. The Court of Appeal has suspended a judgment that quashed the new university funding model, clearing the way for the government to resume contentious variable scholarship loan funding model that has been criticized for locking thousands of students and breaching their right to higher education. That story is told on page 8 of the Daily Nation. On the front page of the Star newspaper, Muturi fired as President Ruto makes changes to the cabinet. Insiders say he provoked President by firing back after incompetent remark. Here they have shown the photos of the people that have been included in the cabinet, including Hannah Wendot Cheptumo, who has been nominated to head the Gender and Culture Ministry, and Geoffrey Ruku takes over from CS Muturi in the Public Service Ministry. Deborah Barasa moved to Environment, and Aden Duale now takes over Health Docket. My guests are already in studio, and I want to engage them on that, but before that, gentlemen, it's good that you have made time. I'm joined by Wakili Onchweri Nyamari Frank, who is an advocate of the High Court. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
We are fine. The weather is good.
Yes.
Yes.
And also Abdisalam Ahmed Sheikh, who is a youth leader, founder and executive director, Climate Governance Movement and Research Organization. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Karibu sana. And Darren Hart, you're not new to Jerusalem. Who is a council member of Tugu Tuke movement. Gentlemen, thank you for making time.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Let me throw this to all of you. I will start with you, Akili. What do you think of the reshuffle and the inclusion of a new phase in the cabinet?
First of all, I will speak from the voice of a young man, that in as much as the reshuffle has been done,
yes,
it does not really mirror the aspirations of the young men who were on the streets on last year, June. We expected a more robust and more inclusive form of reshuffle in the cabinet, fresh people of integrity, but it's disheartening that that has not been done. So in as much as, yes, there is a reshuffle, it does not meet the aspirations of many Kenyans who are young, And we must appreciate the fact that most of the population in Kenya currently is made up of the youth. So old wazes are now representing the youths in cabinet, and they are thinking like the old ways. We have not seen anything new. And so the reshuffle is there, that's for the president, but as far as the voices and the aspirations of the young men are concerned, it doesn't meet the requisite requirements.
Okay. Abdi,
Yes.
what do you make of this? Because every paper has captured the reshuffle and the eventual firing of CS Muturi, former CS Muturi.
Okay. First of all, I'll take on as a from the perspective of a young person, as my brother said. This is first of all something which I can say is an improvement for the president political aspirations. I mean, towards the elections, because it seems like when CS Muturi was in that position, in that docket, he was actually, doing something within the government, you see, and the president and the executive, I mean, didn't fire him when he was like wanted to be fired, actually, because of he wanted to, how can I say it? He wanted to like drive that agenda of how he came the president to the position, and other leaders are doing actually following the footsteps of the president when he was back then the election. So actually this is the right time, I think. The president fired him, and before he fired, I think yesterday there was a remarks that the president did last night when he was meeting with the Muslim leaders, when he said like CS Muturi, when he was in that docket of AG, he didn't like
he was failing.
Failing the goals for the government. You see, so it came like before and after after that remarks, and he was fired. You see, so it's like something that was being cooked already. Yeah.
Darren, what do you make of all this?
Okay, these I call them hula baloos because right now our country, we live in a circus, we live in a movie. Every time you wake up and you find something new, and when you see the president saying that he was incompetent, the Muturi guy was incompetent, but again, he's the one who appointed him to be the Chief Justice. What does it now communicate?
Not Chief Justice.
Oh no, the Attorney General. What does it now communicate to the public? Where was the body that was shortlisting these guys? And we have another report that shows that Justin Muturi has saved Kenya 17 billion shillings that was to go to a loss. So is he incompetent, or he has done better than those who have been there? And again, to me, it's just politics, because the president is set to go to Mount Kenya and campaign there, and there are only two constants in politics, that of betrayal and interest.
Constants.
Yes, so it's just politics, but there's nothing new that we've not seen, and we will not see anything new, because all these people, none of them has the will of the people, none of them has the interest of the common mwananchi. Yes.
You've said something about this just politics. Wakili,
Yes.
is it just politics, or is it about service delivery?
I will concur with my good friend on what he has said, that this is basically politics. The president is looking for a way of surviving in this politics. The current situation and the current wave in politics is that people want service delivered. People want action. People want to see that the president is putting in place the promises that he said in his manifesto back in 2021 and 2022 when he was campaigning. That has not been done. So he has met with a lot of resistance from the larger population, which is made up of the youth, And as such, he must survive. He must look for allies. He must come out as the angel that we didn't know about. But deep down, it's basic politics. There is nothing that is new. So in my own view, he also has to look for people who will help him survive in that political game. So by firing Muturi and bringing in someone who will buy him something, it's a plus for him. Yes.
Now, of course, that in a way ties down to what we are going to talk about, which is the challenges that the youth now face in political systems in today's world. And unlike yesteryears when the youth were considered, let me use this quote unquote, citizens in training, things have changed. And now, in recent years, especially from around 2022 to now, the youth have become more vocal in matters to do with governance, democracy, and politics. But then again, rising to these political leadership roles has not been a rosy or what you would say a smooth sail. Which is why now we have to address the challenges that these youth face when it comes to rising into these political leadership roles within political systems. Abdi, what are these challenges, if I may start with you?
First of all, if I speak for myself and for the young people in that perspective of political landscape in Kenya, the problem, first of all, is there is, lack of political representation when it comes to various aspects in regards to the politics that we are, looking forward. The reasons to why we have a problem is, first of all, this country is lagging behind and is practicing tribalism when it comes to politics, and that is the reasons to why we are, not improving our political perspectives and the future of this country. Let me tell you, this country is not based on ideologies, you see, and ideologies. So if we were to have ideologies in this country, for example, let's say, because our constitution is not, came from Kenyans themselves, it was borrowed from different countries. For example, it basically, one of the countries that was borrowed from this constitution was America and South Africa and other main countries. So if we go in the way of America, though we are just like 60 years old, I think the young people could have gotten that opportunity to in the political landscape in this country. And that is the reason as to why we are not having spaces, to go, to become a breakthrough for us to participate in political positions in this country. Let me tell you, there is an idea that I've shared it, I think, in many mainstream. Still, I have it in my laptop. This program could have, helped the young people in bridging, the government and actually the societies. It's called, I've named that Kenya National Parliament, which is going to serve the young people, debate, share ideas, have programs in that particular program, whereby we are going, the design is whereby we're going to have judges, we're going to have, Group A, Group B, which Group A is going to represent the government, Group B is going to represent the society, and then we are going to have that program after 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, and then we are going to visit different counties so that the government can get the resolutions that come out from that program, and then we submit to the national both parliament so that they can discuss on that one, and then they submit to the president so that the president can get what's happening on the ground. So in that way, we can mainstream whatever we want as young people. I know there is other programs that happens, within Nairobi we have what is called what happened in Jivanji.
Yes, Bunge la Wananchi.
Bunge la Wananchi. It's kind of that, but upgraded one.
Is that helping now the youth to amplify their voices in terms of political engagement?
Exactly. That is the aim of that program. And I think we are in KBC. So KBC is state-owned, like TV. They can take up that kind of idea and then host that kind of programs.
All right. Darren, underrepresentation has been cited as one of the challenges that the youth face in terms of when it comes to politics. And actually, according to a report by International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, only 2.2% of parliamentarians globally are under the age of 30, highlighting a glaring gap in representation. Your take on that?
Okay, first of all, when we talk about the youth and the young people, the Kenyan constitution stipulates that a youth is below 35. But we should note that the youth have got energy, brains, imaginations and talents that can solve our problems. But the perception created in the society today is that the youth are not needed. And that is the major problem that we are having. And just on what you said, there is something new I want to bring on the table, and this is what I want to say. We have young people. When you look at them, they are young. When you look at their pigmentation, body look, structure, they are young. But in terms of how they think, they are old. In terms of how they walk, they are old. In terms of how they make decisions and ideas, they are very old, like 79 years old. And so, young people is not just about the structure. Why am I saying this? Because we have young people even in parliament. But when you see their thinking and the people we say old, there's no difference. So we need to redefine the term leadership so that we will focus on the leadership part. Because having young people in these places, we have young people, as much as there are not so many, but they are working as an old people. So that is very dangerous. Yes. If you elect me today and I work like an old person, am I a youth representing youth, or I'm representing the interest of my godfather?
So how is a youth supposed to work?
Okay. A youth is supposed to work like this, having in mind that a youth, having that we have ideas, number one, you must have a vision. Because a leader without a vision is like a ship in the ocean without a compass. They will not know whether to sail to the north, south, east, or west. Number two, a youth must be courageous. You must have an aura of confidence. And number three, you must always stand on the truth. You must not be bought. There is something we call tokenism, where an idea where the old in power have an agenda to achieve. They bring the project, they say we want this project to affect the young people. But again, they go ahead, if that project is not meeting their demands or their requirement to steal the money, they go ahead, do the project. Once they squander the money, once the project is over, now they call the young people in front of the cameras. And they say, here are the young people. This project is for the young people. And so, we need leaders, young people who have a vision and who are going to these positions to leave a mark. Nowadays, people go to parties, parliament to sing. And they elevate people on who can sing better and the loudest. They appoint people who can dance better, not people who can perform and impact the community. That is now the disease that we have, not only in Kenya, but Africa. We need people who will go there, not to live opulence and extravagance lifestyle. We need people who we can remember, like Wangari Maathai. At least you did something. Like Mahatma Gandhi, you did something to the humanity. Not because you bought this expensive car, you bought this house, you went to Netherlands, you have a family here, you have this in the bank. No. Leadership should not be where you go to do business, to get money, but it should be where you go and say, I'm going to touch lives. I'm going to impact the society. And many years to come, I'll be remembered. Yes.
We'll come back to how now the young people are redefining leadership. But I also want to get the sentiment of you, Akili, in terms of the challenges that the youth now are facing in terms of rising to political leadership and how the political systems fare in that area. What is your take on that? What are the major challenges you think have impeded the youth in rising into these positions?
Thank you for the opportunity once again. Before I tell you the challenges, I will want to paint to you a picture of what the society thinks a leader is. The society thinks that a leader is this guy who is old, who has a big stomach, who is maybe having 2 or 3 wives somewhere, who is driving a very big car, black in color, and a posh home, or maybe living in a very secure estate, a gated community. That's what the society thinks a leader is. Someone with money. Maybe this guy has got one corruption scandal here which has made him rich. That is what the society thinks a leader is. But then when you come to the young men and the challenges that they are facing in leadership, when they are in the political systems, you will find that the society views them as not being qualified to be leaders. Because 1, they don't have the money. 2, they don't have that big car the society thinks about. 3, they are not married. You know, I've had friends who've not been elected to elective positions because they don't have wives. 4, this guy is clean. He doesn't have a scandal that makes him rich. So young men, when they stand up, so the society looks at them as, you know, you are young, you don't have a wife, you don't have a car, you don't have money. You ought to have money, but because you are young, you don't have, so you are shut. So basically, and as my friend has said, society mistakes wisdom with age. Because I want to say this with finality, that necessarily it doesn't mean that when you are old, you're wise. Understand?
Yeah.
So the society thinks that leaders are old, and the fact that they are old, they are wise, which is wrong. So that is a challenge that people, young people like myself, meet. Number 2, youths have not been able to take up the roles and take up the challenge of coming out and standing and going for these elective positions. And I will refer you to the Constitution, that is Article 38, which gives every person political rights.
Yes.
And it says that every citizen is free to make political choices, which includes the right to form or participate in forming a political party. And the question will be, how many youths have registered political parties? First of all, how many political parties do we have as a country? And among those political parties, how many young people have registered them or participated in registering their own political parties, which mirror the aspirations of young people in this country? Very few. Even us who are in this panel have not registered political parties. So, young people or young leaders have not embraced or captured or taken advantage of what the Constitution is giving them.
Do you think there is some sense of fear amongst the youth in taking up or going for these positions, or just positively interrupting the political systems?
I will take you back to what I said, that the community sees you as a young man who is not married, who is not rich, who doesn't have a car, and you ought to have money so that you give them, but you don't have that money because you are young.
Social and cultural biases.
Yes. So when given that space, young people are facing a lot of barriers. But you see, registering a political party does not require somebody to tell you that you are young. It only requires you to put your papers together, walk into the register of political parties, and have your party registered. Form a manifesto that mirrors, or a manifesto that inspires young people to come and share in your ideas, to come and share in your vision, to come and share in your plans. Young people, what I'm saying is that they have not done that. And those who have done so are very few. And we must appreciate the fact that 70% of the population in Kenya is made up of young men. Even in this room, those who are here currently are young men. I've not seen an old man. So what I'm saying is very simple, that the Constitution has given every citizen, youths included, political rights to form political parties and bring themselves into the board on political matters. But young men have relaxed. young men have not taken that opportunity. Young men have not seen it. I appreciate what happened last year in terms of the Gen Z protests, that young men were able to come out and express themselves. And the president got that statement clear, although the same has not been actualized. Then, if that continues, it's a challenge to young men that now they need to come out, take those political positions, register political parties, and even go ahead, given that 70% of the Kenyan population is made up of young men, they can even elect one of their own as the president. Who knows?
But from what you're saying, it's like there is a sense of fear amongst the youth, and also when it comes to social, cultural issues, there's some level of skepticism that the voters might have towards the youth, the people who are young, who have risen to leadership positions. We are going to address that immediately after we come from this short break. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migu. This is Youth and Governance, which we do it every Thursday. And today we are looking at the challenges that young leaders face in political systems. And Wakili, before we went on a break, we were talking about matters to do with fear and skepticism that young leaders face in politics. If you may continue on that point.
Yes, I was saying that young people, a majority of them have not taken up or taken an advantage of what the Constitution is awarding them in terms of what is in Article 38, political rights, that every citizen, including the young people, have the right or are free to participate in forming or form political parties. Yeah. And I was raising the question that we have political parties, and among those political parties, how many of them have been formed by the youth? And those who are, those political parties, how many of them have an agenda for the youth? Very few.
Now,
very few.
If you're talking about political parties now, Abdi, let's take, for instance, the established one, without mentioning name. Do you think, or is it true that party leaders tend to pick people that they have worked with before at the expense of someone new, let's say a youth leader?
First of all, when it comes to political parties, I just want to refer to the point that he said, and actually I want to excuse that I'm going to challenge him in that position. We have a problem of resources, and that's which is making the young people to be skeptical and to go forward to form political parties. And even if we pull resources together, it seems like it's like a manipulation by the society. They can bring you down in just a minute if you are going to implement whatever they are going to propose when you are maybe at the peak of the office of this on the land. So that is again another problem that we have. I think registering a political party in this country is, I think, 100,000 and above. You see, so a young person cannot get that kind of money to register, and there's other aspects and processes that are going to give out money and a fee as a fee. You see, so that is another problem, a challenge that young people are facing, and those people who have already formed that kind of political parties, they already established businessmen. You see, they already had the money in their process. You see, so and still, they want the support of the young people, and they are taking advantage of what happened in the last few months. You see, so they are looking for votes of the young people, for the views of the young people, of which is good, by the way. And the other thing is, we have, not only in Kenya but in Africa, when it comes to young people leveraging to the highest positions in this country, is they first of all are keen to they're keen to make themselves as wealthy as they can. You see, that is another problem that we have. Everyone in this continent, not only Kenya, is you know, trying to get out from the poverty line, you see. So all the people who are going for the higher positions, they're looking power, they're looking for, first of all, let me make myself, you know, resource person. Then the next maybe term that I'm coming back, I'm looking forward for a power, you see, so that I can capture everyone, you see. So that is a problem that we have, not only Kenya, but in entire continent, when it comes to the young people leveraging to the highest positions.
So they use it as a means to an end.
Exactly.
But then again, if you're talking about political parties and the positions they are in, and those with established political parties wanting to work with the youth, but then again there is the aspect of working with the people, only with the people they know, rather than a youthful leader.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
It's a problem, by the way. So look at the parties that was formed after the Gen Z movement that happened in this country. They are all like buddies, you see, from the businesses, from the, you know, all aspects of life. Like, they're just friends. They're not entirely going to the other counties. They're just, you know, caged into Nairobi, you see. So that is another problem that the young people are facing, like, you know, they're doing actually. So they need to expound their base. They need to go to every county. They need to have representative from every county, so that can be a national party. Yeah.
Darren, do you think the youth are overlooked when it comes to taking up leadership positions, especially if you're talking about working with a political party? I'll throw the same question. The party working with the people that they know at the expense of a youthful leader who is, for instance, coming into politics for the first time.
Yeah, that is definitely true. In fact, when you see the nominations, when you see a young person being nominated to this position, check keenly, follow the roots. You'll find that this person is connected to either the top of the leader of that party, because that is what we see. Even look at the recent nominations. There's this young person called Fikirini. When you look back, you find that he's a very close ally of Raila Amolo Odinga. When you see the pictures, like, you have to be a close ally, and we have to bring something on the table. During campaigns, you have to go an extra mile.
Yeah.
They don't award you because you are knowledgeable. They award you on how best you can dance or sing. Okay? We must get that right. So let me come to my point. I want to have a different idea from the advocate of the High Court.
Yes.
Wakili praises parties. He says young people should form parties, should go, should vote. But for me, I have a different view. We don't need parties. Parties are spoiled. That is one of the major problems in our country. Why do I say so? They have become personal business enterprises to the party owners. When you talk of ODM, UDA, talk of any party, you must give the allegiance to the founder, to the owner, so that you might get the appointment, you might get the nomination. Young people have suffered because of direct nominations in parties. And that's why you ask if young people are not getting to these positions. You cannot be nominated if you don't have a package. Especially, like me, the people of Langata are calling me to vie in Langata as a member of parliament. But my worry is, if I don't have that 1 million to meet Mr. Odinga, to vie with ODM, I will not vie, I will not win. That is true, and it cuts across the country. So the problem is not the young people. The problem is the systems that have been put there deliberately to suppress the young people and any other person who has the interest of the people. If you are just clean, you are just coming, you have the manifesto, you want to serve the people, forget about that party.
But then again, why don't you form your own political party that is pegged on your own ideologies that are pro-people?
Good question. There is no a single party in Kenya with an ideology. Talk of ODM, talk of UDA. We don't have an ideology, something that you can associate or affiliate with that party, with your interest. What we have is the businesses of the owners. Now, they have gone ahead because there are people who have the numbers in parliament. They have put laws that you having an ideology can be hard for you. Because if me and my brother here, we want to form a political party that is based on ideology, do you know that we need to have at least 24 counties, offices, physical offices that are working for us to register a political party? That means we need to have finances, not 100K the way he said. We need more than 5 million for us. And that 5 million, you can be blocked as well. The process is tedious. I've gone through it. It's very, very tedious. You do this, you do this. They want to check everything about you. It is like your names must go somewhere else to be screened. You see? So we don't need political parties. That's what I'm trying to say. Young people, we have the numbers. Why can't we just go for independent people? So that thereafter we will look and re-strategize now to have political parties that are based on ideologies. If we refrain from voting these people from these parties, we might save a little bit. We might grow in a way. Because right now, these political parties, there is a 2021 political act. There is no a single political party that has effected that act. One of it being, you should not be in a political party, you should not be a signatory or maybe a leader in that party when you are holding an office, public office. None of the political parties have effected that act. So we are just electing people as their businesses. We want to go there to sing to them, praise them, do their dirty deals so that we will be appointed.
So we should do away with political parties.
Yes, let's do away with political parties.
Do you agree with that? And my question here is, does party politics interfere with youthful ambition when it comes to leadership?
I want to speak this with a lot of humility.
Yes.
and answer my two friends from a point of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number one is that we are talking about the challenges that young leaders are facing in political systems. And my good friend Abdi has highlighted that many young people don't have money. That is true. I want to agree with him that it is true that many young people have not established themselves. They don't have money. And that is a challenge. But the question is, do we now stay there in that blanket that we don't have money, so we will not get into those spaces forever? We have to do something. We have to do something to come out of the challenge of not having money.
Yeah.
And one way of coming out of that challenge is coming out, uniting, and forming political parties. I've given him an example of how the Gen Z's protests were organized. I didn't participate in organizing, but I actually went to the streets. But this is what I'm saying, that people got injured and the medics were there. People got injured, there were medical bills. My good friend Hanifa, and I appreciate this, that Hanifa comes almost from the same clan with my good friend Abd, was in charge of those monies. How were those monies raised? Did we call for an arambe from the old people? The answer is no. But people, Kenyans of goodwill, including the old, the young, contributed towards offsetting those bills in hospitals, organizing funerals for those who are so unfortunate to lose their lives. So money cannot be the problem as to why youths cannot be able to come into elective positions. And my point is this, that if the youths come out, form political parties, come out with same ideas, come out with a vision, come out with a plan, money will not be a problem. That is one.
There should be a unity of purpose, if I'm getting you right.
That is what I'm saying. We have failed. We have become our own enemies because we are looking at ourselves at how do we rival Raila Odinga, how do we rival Kalonzo Musyoka, and we lose the point. We have the numbers, as my good friend Darren has said. What are we doing with that number? That's the question. Number two, when we look at people like my good friend Vikirini Jacobs, and by the way, I have actually gone to Pwani University to campaign for him because I believe and I share in ideas. I believe and I share in his vision as a young person. It's only that he's so fortunate to have been spotted by Raila Odinga and being appointed as the PS in that docket. And kudos to him. But that does not erase him from the bracket of him being a young man. I have gone to the streets with Kasmuel, but it was unfortunate or good for him that he was able to be picked by ODM again, and now he's walking with them. I've been to streets with so many people, but the question is, why is this young generation not forming a political party? They have the numbers. What are they doing with those numbers? We cannot sit in a cocoon and or put ourselves in a bottle and say that now we don't have money, we have not been established, we don't have links with these politicians, you know, and we stay there forever. We have to come out. And the only way to come out is to take advantage of what has been awarded to us under Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya. My aspiration as a young person is that I want to come out and tell young people to resonate with me. And there are so many other young men who are in various constituencies that I know who are going to vie for these political positions. Some wants to become members of parliament, others are eyeing to become senators. Why don't young people make a decision that let us elect them? Why should young people accept to be given 200 shillings, 500 shillings for them to be able to change their will and vote wrongly? Young men in this country have got the numbers. One, they need to wake up, go register political parties of their own so that they can actually actualize their visions. There is nothing which stops them. As my good friend Darren was saying about money and opening offices in 24 counties, there is no problem. If people come together, all that will be easy peasy.
Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something.
Yes.
In regards to that one, I think there is another problem we have in this country.
Yes.
That I've already said in my first point, that is tribalism. For example, part of this country have experienced marginalization for the longest. So I want to pose a question to all of us.
Yes.
So for the young person who is establishing a political party, for example, let's take our brother
Frank.
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 Huh? Frank,
yes.
Yeah. Not Frank, that political party, the guy.
Morara Kibaso.
Morara Kibaso, yeah.
Yes.
Morara Kibaso, let's say, he comes from a region, right? And so, for example, he said the young people should elect the young people, in the positions of, for example, member of parliament, senate, and all those positions. But again, when I want to enter that political party and I'm not seeing my interest as a person who's coming from Northeastern, so how can I vie, in the ticket of that party when he's not having an agenda of carrying the whole country together? So I think the problem we have in this country is we view everything as tribalism. For example, right now there is an established all political, it's our old, I think, ODM. ODM, some people view it's coming from one region, and it's run like a family, a party, but it's different, by the way. How ODM works is different. I've experienced and I've worked with them in the grassroots of Garissa. So we have a problem in this country in terms of forming political party, and another problem is if we form political parties, the entire young people form political parties. There is a clash. There's going to be a clash in the future.
Clash of what?
Of tribalism, because we don't have ideologies in this country.
But then again, aren't the youth supposed to change this perception now? If you're forming these new political parties, aren't you supposed to change these perceptions and transcend tribalism and politics of
family?
Yes,
and by the way, let me help you.
Yes.
When the young people were on the streets, there was nothing like tribalism. Myself, I resonated with Kasmuel, who is a Luo and a Makisi.
Yeah.
I went to Pwani to campaign for Fikirini Jacobs. I'm Makisi, I think he's a Swahili. I even don't know which tribe he comes from. I resonated well with Anifa, with a Somali and a Makisi, and so many others. So when you are addressing young people, be careful not to bring in the element of tribalism, because totally it does not exist in our ideas.
But in the future, but like when we see how our country works and politics, it's basically tribalism, because we don't have ideologies. That is a fact.
We don't have ideologies.
Yeah, we don't have ideologies.
Do you agree that we do not have ideologies? And is it easy to do with party politics? And are there dangers to it?
Okay, first of all, today you are very unfair to me. They are talking too much.
The floor is yours.
Now the floor is mine.
Yeah.
I still maintain political parties are good when you look at the global arrangement, other countries.
Okay.
But when it comes to our country and other countries in Africa, we don't need political parties right now. We need to set things right first before we have these political parties. And this is my point. You see, when people say about the new constitution, we call it new and it is Constitution 2010. Many of us Kenyans have not read it and understood that the laws that it is stipulated, people have not understood that it removes a lot of power from the president and put on the people. And how did it put on the people? It put on the people that you know, the budget does not belong to the president, or maybe this guy, the treasury. But the way things are, people have not read it, they have not understood. They think that the budget belongs to the president and the treasury. And so, the parliament, the budget belongs to the parliament. And the parliament is a representative of the people. That is where the major problem comes, because Kenyans, when these people go to these political parties, they win seats and they don't deliver. They squander the money, they do this, they do that. It's very hard for you to go and put that leader accountable. And so, as to Butuke, we are coming up with another way of how we can put the leaders accountable. You, Vi, as an individual, independent person, come, you read our pledge, you sign our pledge, that when we elect you, you will be a representative of the people. You will report to the people. You will not go to the to trade with the people's resources. So the major problem is not even the political parties. We can have the political parties, and I know so many political parties that are registered by youth. As you remember last election, my friend Pigjin Oldimwengu, he has Accountability and Transparency Party. Registered. He was vying for presidency. And so, young people like Morara, now you hear that there is a party. It's not about the question of a party. It's the question of delivery. When these people we elect them to these positions, how will we make sure that they are accountable to the people? Can we recall them? Do you know the process of recalling these leaders is very, very hectic? And so it's not the question of the parties. It's the question of delivery and the people of Kenya to be satisfied with the leaders. They go to parliament, they dance, they sing. National Assembly has become the home of comedy, scandals, and impunity. People don't go there to leave a mark. So we should be addressing how we can put these leaders accountable.
Okay. That being that, do you think the current crop of youthful leaders that we have lived up to expectations of the people?
Okay. The thing comes here. You know, divide and conquer has been a weapon for a long time, and it still remains a weapon. That's why when you saw the Gen Zs, we were on the streets. Even me, I was on the streets, and I can even, we can shoot the videos here to show that we were there. We really fought for the betterment of our country. And so, the problem is, when the old saw that, they united. Raila Odinga was brought on the table. In the kitchen, I mean, because now he took the other side, they merged, and now they structured a plan. How can we divide these young people? Because them, they thrive when the young people are not united. And when the young people are not united, they can still maintain power. That's why they fish people like Casmuel. They see somebody vocal, they fish, but they cannot try somebody like me, because even my face, you can't buy me. And so, when they strike in the middle, they take Casmuel, they take Advocate Frank there, They appoint Fikrini. Fikrini is a vocal person. I've seen his videos. Yes. When he's speaking, you can see the fire. But now the problem is, when they pull you on their side, they give you some millions, your life changes, they strike a division. Because Fikrini is an ODM person, now you will be pushing the agenda of ODM. Kasmuel is now pushing the agenda of ODM, not the agenda of the general youth. Maybe me and the advocate here and my friend, we are now continuing. But the problem is, the old are watching. And when they see you, they strike you. So we need to be also strategic. What can we do? Forget about political parties. And another problem I've remembered. You know, I don't know if all three of us here vote or have a voting card. Majority of young people, when I ask them, my friend, who is your MP? Some of them don't remember, don't know even the senator or the MP from their area, even the MCA. But you will hear somebody say, but I ticked the correct color, 6 piece. So maybe it was UDA or ODM or Ford Kenya to the 6 piece. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So majority of young people don't have voting cards. If we have political parties, the only thing, or people, if they'll vie independent, whichever way, the only thing those numbers who are on the streets will make a difference is if all those people go and take voting cards and vote and protect the votes.
Now answer my question. Has the current crop of youthful leaders lived up to expectations?
Okay, for me as a youthful leader, I know I've lived up to expectations.
The ones we have in parliament.
But the ones we have in parliament, forget about them. None of them has lived. Forget about these dramas we see. Somebody has slapped someone. That is not the work of leaders. There is none. I can say none. The entire parliament should be shaped off.
You're very passionate about that.
Passionate.
Yes. But when we come back, we are going to talk solutions. When we come back, we're going to talk solutions. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Kenya. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike. The segment is Youth and Governance. We are talking about the challenges that the youth face in political systems. And the deliberation has just gotten very interesting. And Wakili, there's the aspect of digital engagement. If we are to have the youth coalesce, what is the role? Is it going to be used effectively, or what do you think?
One advantage that we have as young people is technology and the use of it.
Yeah.
And I can realistically say that even during the Gen Z protests, meetings were being held online. We used to have meetings on X. We used to deliberate on serious issues that are bewildering this nation online, through online forums, X, Twitter, TikTok. People would come there and post, and we would resonate. We all had a unity of purpose. We all agreed, using that platform, that this country was not heading into the right direction.
Yeah.
And the advantage that young people have is technology and the use of it. And just like God asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? Me, I will be asking the youths, what do you have in your hand? Number one, you have numbers. Number two, you have technology with you. It's upon you to decide on how you want to use it. So I will state by saying that it is very, very, very possible that young men can use technology to direct this country into the right path by creating rightful influence and speaking out about the issues that are affecting young people and even the larger generation, larger population, in respect of how this country should be run. And therefore, social media, technology is a good tool, but it also has its own limits. We also have the Cyber Security Act.
Yes.
We must be very careful not to violate the same, but use the platforms which are available on our desk for our good purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
Abdi, you
Yes.
know, technology is one of the things that you can say the youth have an advantage of.
Yeah.
And numbers, especially in Kenya. But then again, the question is, can the youth turn their numbers into a dividend when it comes to making political decisions and even elections?
You see, as much as I support technology and using technology as a form of promoting good governance in this country, again, as my brother said, Wakili, there is disadvantage that comes with it. You see, we know after the movement what happened. The disintegration between the young people. You see, in terms of everyone has gone back to where he came from. Regionalism. That is another problem that we have. The young people, in as much as we are doing, we are using the social media platform as a voice, then we should use it, in a purposeful way and in a way that we can leverage our political discourse. Another thing that I want to add is this one. I just want to ask everyone in this room that do you think do you think that we are talking about the young people? You see, we have millennials again. There is a difference between social media platforms and on the ground what's happening, and then we have the government, the system. You see, a person who have come a lot to become a president, who has the system, who has the ground. Can we do something to change any regime in this country? Because it never happened. It never happened that I know when back at then when Moi was there, it was Raila and his buddies that fought for this country to have a multi-party and this freedom of expression. But again, there is a difference between back at that time with the constitution and this constitution, you see. So I just want to ask everyone, are we going to make it 2027 on this one? Yeah.
Through social media?
Through social media.
Are we going to make it through social media?
Partly yes and partly no.
Why?
Why do I say so? Because I think I've participated at the University of Nairobi politics, and I know how social media also works. You'll find an aspirant who has some good coins, calling around 30 people in a room, telling them, I want you guys to make me trend on Twitter. And after this, there's lunch of 1,000 each. I can tell you I've seen somebody who has trended top 10 who has done that, because you only need 1,000 tweets and you trend.
Trend.
So we have the rats. The young people, as I started with, it's not about young people the way we call. We have young people who are old, and this one I'll repeat. They are young, but they are old. Those are the people who will be used now to divide us, even in social media. We've attended even X spaces, but people, not every X space goes well. Sometimes people there, mtu anatolewa kwa sababu wanapingana. So the thing is, we need to conscientize ourselves. How do we conscientize ourselves? We can only have the power if we have the votes. So many young people, they speak on social media. They don't have the voting cards. And I'll still reinstate this. I want to advise the fellow young people. If you don't have a voting card, make sure you have it, so that when we speak on social media, we can translate those numbers into now reality. Because the old people have voting cards, 80%, 90% of them, but young people, 30%, even below. Because even in my class, my friends, a group of 7, I posed this question. Out of 7, only 3 people have the voting card. 2 people have the voting card, but there is a voter apathy. Why should I go and vote and my vote will not make an impact? So there is also that. We need to go and see. And this social media as well, we have the grassroots areas. We need now to translate from X to even radio stations so that we can reach the common mwananchi, that we can reach the common mwananchi that can understand what we are saying in towns, because these X spaces mostly is Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret. It goes like that. But how can we reach the Mandera guy? How can we reach, you know, our voting block might be, we will be waiting for a polling station in Samburu to make a youth win. And if they don't have the votes, they will not make a difference. So let's not only talk, but let's take voting cards so that we can have the power in the voting. And recently you saw the University of Nairobi elections have been postponed. They were to happen yesterday because there is a court order. I don't know what transpired, but we hope it's for the goodwill, because the systems are rotten. The systems out here nationally, they are not good. They are not a good environment for young people like us to go and vie. My friend Wakili here, if today he says he's going to vie maybe Kisii or a constituency or maybe Nairobi, if he doesn't have that 5 million shillings, don't even try. Because the average voting block for an MP to win is that 5 million shillings in Kenya. For you to join UDA or maybe ODM, you should, first of all, when you say ODM, Mr. Odinga. When you say UDA, Mr. Ruto. Okay? That one, take it to the bank. When you go to Morara's camp, when you think about his inject party, the first person you should think of is Morara, if they will give you the ticket, because they won't give you for free. Because you cannot also walk in those parties and speak anything. They will tell you, go and open your political party. That's what they tell you. Go and open your political party. And that's why you see, even DP, this Muturi, everybody looks, they are forming parties. Some parties are being bought for the young people because there are no resources. Yeah.
Now, let's talk solutions, because we have addressed these challenges. Now, I'll start with you, Akili. Where do we go from here now? If we are talking about social biases, lack of enough cash, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think you've asked that question at the right time.
Yes.
Because I have seen the mind of my good friend Abdi and my good friend there. They are in a cocoon whereby challenges will make them not to rise. So I want to help them rise and tell them that the sky is not the limit and the money is not the problem. The problem is unity of purpose. The problem is lack of taking, or the reluctance nature of the youths from taking the advantage of the opportunities the Constitution has presented to them. Another solution that I can give them is that we need to stop fearing. We need to be bold. We need to make those bold steps. Just like a baby. You know, a baby crawls, anashikilia meza.
Yeah.
And then as time goes by, anaanguka, anagongwa kichwa, he learns.
Yes.
So we need to behave that way. That now the political parties have established themselves. So do we live there? No, we don't. We have the numbers. We have young people who are vying. Let's vote for them. There is nothing which stops my good friend from running as an independent candidate. And by the way, I want to challenge you on that line. That come 2027, don't form a political party, just stand.
Jitose wajani.
Good. And run as an independent candidate. I will be happy for you. But also the youths in your constituency, I will challenge them that this is a young man, please support him. Let all young men support one another. And I gave an example of the Gen Z protests. We had people, we had casualties, but we didn't call for an Arambe. We only answered to the need. And the need was funds to take people to the hospitals and have them treated.
Yes.
We didn't call for an Arambe. We only opened a pay bill number, and Kenyans of goodwill contributed out of a good heart.
Okay.
And that is the spirit that needs to be there. The Constitution has given us a lot of space, a lot of opportunities as young men. We only need to question the government on Article 55, that the youth representation in Parliament, specifically the Senate, is inadequate. That needs to be increased.
Okay.
And it's a challenge to the youth members who are in Parliament already, the likes of Babu Owino, the likes of Mwenje, the likes of Jalango, and so many others. And the question to them is, what are they doing to ensure that youth representation in Parliament, including affirmative action activities, are taken by the state to increase representation? Because you can't tell me that 2 youths in the Senate can be representing more than 70%. That is around 50 million.
Yes.
30 million.
30 million, yes.
30 million youths who make up the larger population in the country. There are things that need to be done.
Okay.
Let's first of all address ourselves as youths. The fear is gone. Let's come out. Let's vie. Let's go for political positions. Let's form political parties. Let us support youth who are going to vie. From where I come from, I know my good friend Otieno Mokaya will be vying.
Okay.
What stops me from, and even the youths in Bobasi constituency, what stops them from supporting one of their own?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Abi, very forward.
Still I have questions in regards to what my wakili said. I have like questions in regards to that one, but when it comes to youth representation in the Parliament, so the way he said, like, we need to reflect ourselves. What are the few that are already in Parliament are doing? That is a reflection. They are just, they are following their political parties. You see that ideology, whether it is tribalism or whatever. You see, because when they were, coming to the elections, getting the ticket, you need to pay. So they need to get back that money. You see, that 5 million plus, you see, then you need to get back that money, you see. So the few that who are already in the Parliament are doing nothing. So it means, and I've already said this one, because the young people, let me tell you, all the people in this country are not thinking in an economic way, but they are thinking in a political way. So we need to go in the side of economics, you see, let few people run the political shows, you see. So let us, not all of us are politicians. You see, the course political science is a good course, by the way, and it needs professionals. And that's where politicians come from, and the course of international relations and these social sciences courses. But it seems like everyone right now, even doctors, are interested to be in politics. You see, that is a problem again we have in this country. So I'm challenging my wakili that there is a problem still. The few are in the Parliament, the young people, are not taking up their responsibility representing the young people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Darren, the way forward as we close this program.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I want to rebuttal the advocate of the high court. When you touch a revolutionary, you must test it.
Okay, 1 minute.
Wakili, it's not about the question of vying.
How many here?
You've told me to vie, or when you see somebody saying that I want to vie, I want to be in this position, I want the youth to elect me, you should be very skeptical, because it should be the voice of the people. And of course, for me, I get even calls from Turkana, the work I do. I get the calls from Kisumu. They tell me, are you vie? We want you to be a leader. We want you to vie. That is what signifies you to vie. Not just you vie because we want to feel good, to be rich or to have money or what. That's what is killing our country. And again, as a revolutionary, one thing you should know, and I know, is that you are a walking dead. We are not afraid. I can die even after this studio, because we are not afraid. We're not afraid to do anything that will set our country free. So I want to tell Wakili that we're not afraid. I'm the most courageous man on earth. Okay. Now, my closing remarks.
Yes.
As young people, we have an obligation to change the status quo.
Yeah.
As the young people, we have an obligation to always challenge and put issues on the table and shape the discourse. It's us who must determine the line of march in Parliament.
Okay.
It's us who must determine the line of march in Parliament. But if young people, we are going to allow ourselves to fear the government, then we will never achieve anything.
All right.
Remember, divide and conquer has been a weapon for a long time, and it still remains a weapon. It's high time the young people will be serious, because if we don't take our things seriously in our country,
yes,
nobody will take us seriously.
Indeed.
The day we'll wake up in the morning and refuse to divide ourselves along party lines, like Wakili has been saying, party. The day we will wake up in the morning and refuse to define ourselves along tribal lines, we will change our country.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Allow me to end it at that. I'm told we are out of time.
Okay.
We still have a... Well, I invite you again. Allow me to end it at that. And thank you so much. Your time is very much appreciated. That is Darren Hart, who is a council member of Tugutuke Movement, and Abdisalam Ahmed Sheikh, who is a youth leader and founder, executive director of Climate Governance Movement and Research Organization, and also Wakili Onchweri Mari Frank, who is an advocate of the High Court. I appreciate you, gentlemen, for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya to talk about these challenges. This is where we end this segment. Don't go too far. Good Morning Kenya continues in a bit. My name is Mike. May we stay with us.